I've always told our guys there's no tackle, turnover, or touchdown from last year that carries forward to this year. We have to go out and earn every one of them all over again, and I really like their approach and their demeanor. And the second thing is probably just the world that we're in college football now. You know, we had 12 new freshmen come in January, 12 new transfers, probably going to have 9 high school kids and about 5 to 10 new portal guys come in June. So to acclimate those guys into what we do is probably the biggest goal.
How much did you allow yourself, and did you allow the guys that were part of that team, especially those that are coming back that you got to spend time with, to enjoy it? Yeah. Because sometimes the end of the season and the beginning of the next one basically meld together.
Yeah, coaches for sure. I remember we flew back New Year's Day, right? And that was the beginning of live recruiting for the portal. So as coaches, we didn't have much of a chance, but I did. You know, our first day back on campus, we always start classes the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day, and we showed a video of the game and a recap, and we had a victory dinner like we always do after all season long. When we'd have a win, we'd have a victory dinner on Sunday. So we had that little moment, and I basically said, hey, turn the page. I will say this though, Rick, too, like one of the parts that I've really learned in this profession is you have to, you know, be a part of what your history is, and I wanted them guys to know what they did and what they created, because that's a part of their time here at Illinois that they can never take away from them. 1, 2, 3, family! Crazy as this world is now, that's something that should never be taken away from them.
When you are trying to repeat what you did, a great start is to have the quarterback back on your team that you had doing it a year ago. And Luke Altmyer finally stayed healthy and looked phenomenal last year. How can he look even better in 25?
You know, he's very intentional about what he does. Luke is, he's not a guy that's just going to come in and, you know, take over a room. He's a very intentional guy, very deliberate in his actions, has done a really good job of building relationships with some of the new guys in the building, but also building on the ones that are there. But I thought last year he made improvements in his, you know, his early down decisions, his third down efficiency. But at the end of half and end of game, his situational football was at a high level. And I think that's something that was very internally driven from him. As coaches, we definitely provided it, but he's been a huge factor. We knew he was good, but the problem was a lot of other people knew he was good as well. So we had to fend off some new guys in the market. But when he first talked to me about coming back this year, his first 2 questions were about who was coaching me and who am I around, right? It wasn't about money. It wasn't about all of that other stuff. He wanted to know what was going to be around him to make him successful. And I think that's a great indicator of a great quarterback.
Well, whether it was Luke or on the defensive side, a guy like Gabe Akis, these are guys that in today's day and age are very wanted. And when we say wanted, they're guys that can make a lot of money because they're desirable commodities. How proud are you of what your program has to be and mean to those guys that they say the money is not as important as being part of the Illini program?
It's a great point. And I'd say, Rick, I give a lot of credit to our administration. Even going into last year, you know, we had 2 bye weeks. In bye week 1 and bye week 2, bye week 1 was about conversations with my administration to prepare for bye week 2, because during that second bye week, we started conversations. Gabe Akis, Xavier Scott, you know, several guys on offense. We targeted about 8 guys that we knew if we could get these 8 guys to come back, you know, either through NFL opportunities or, you know, not being oblivious to the world that other teams were going to come after them. So to get those guys back and then we built around that was a really big part.
Did you ever think you'd have to go back to all those accounting classes you took in college to make sure that this college coaching thing worked out?
You know, I used to rely on my marketing degree from Iowa, but I definitely had to, I started off as an accounting major, which I quickly got out of. So I let other people do that part, but relationships are everything. And in our building, I think the #1 reason that we kept people is because the relationships we built were very intentional in what we do. And I think also the product coming on the backside of it, you know, like guys like Johnny Newton, Devin Witherspoon, Juan Martin, all those guys that have gone on to the NFL. And I think they're the ones that come back and tell our guys, listen, like, you're just better prepared than the other people we've come into NFL camps with because of what Coach B and his staff does. And I think that's part of what we really try to pride ourselves on, and it's been very beneficial.
I think our focus right now is keeping players. Yeah. And we kind of overlook how important it is for success to be able to keep staffs in place. What you've done with those coordinators for 3 straight years at 3 main positions is really kind of unheard of in today's day and age. How much does that add to the success?
Well, again, I give credit to Josh Whitman, our AD, allowed me the resources to do it. But on the flip side of it, you know, I've been very blessed. I think I've had 8 guys become head coaches now, and I think Aaron and Barry both will be head coaches, just hopefully not in our league. But those guys have done a really good job of building their value. You know, one of the things that I learned from my mentor, Barry Alvarez, right, is coaches are only going to be effective if you tell them what you want, but you got to let them do their job. So One of our main things coming in the building every day, there's a big sign that says, do your job. And for my job as a head coach, it becomes much easier when those guys are doing as well as they are. And it's a really fun environment to be a part of.
I think it's interesting, during your time at Wisconsin, you mentioned Barry as your mentor. An AD who was a former college football player, obviously Nebraska wasn't in the Big Ten then, they are now. And now your AD, Josh Whitman, a former player inside the Big Ten at Illinois. What's your relationship like with Josh, both when it comes to football and when it comes to the other stuff in life?
Yeah, Rick, Josh is an A-plus human being. He's a great AD. To walk that walk with him every day for a guy that literally sat in our chairs as a student athlete, played in the NFL, but now he is on a, he's literally one of the most powerful ADs in all of college football, right? And to have this journey with him has been absolutely awesome. He understands it, he gets it. He's one of the few ADs out there right now. Our basketball program under Brad Underwood, Shauna Green, our women's basketball coach, he hired all three of us, and I think the lifeline that all three kind of provide one another, we're all really close, and I think we have one common goal, is to make Illinois great, and that's what's a lot of fun.
Brett, I want to finish with what everybody hopes is the end of the season for them, and that's the college football playoff. We've gone to 12. How inevitable is it, in your opinion, that we go either 14 or 16, some type of expansion? And is that good for college football right now?
I think it's great for two reasons. First, the more teams that are involved, it keeps more fan bases engaged, and what I've seen and kind of what I've seen projected out there, allows a fan base maybe that's had not only one loss, maybe two losses, maybe even at times a 3-loss team, a chance to get into the college football playoffs, which is absolutely awesome. We're in a world right now, and you live it every day, Rick, like college football is at a premium that is just unprecedented. Obviously, players are getting paid. Everybody wants to talk about the portal world, but they're probably just getting what they should have been getting for a long time. And that's what makes this game really good. So I think the more we can, I hope it goes to 16. I really do. Just, I saw a format that last year in our league, we could have a scenario that we would have maybe been playing against Ohio State to play into a playoff spot. And I think that at the end of the year is really what it's all about.